Well, welcome to our Godly Place session for the fifth Sunday of Lent. And we are still working with this curious box. Shall we open it and see what's inside? Here is the Annunciation. Here is Transfiguration. And here is Resurrection. You could look at these and think that this is a story with a beginning, a middle, and an ending. But actually, that's not true because the story goes on right until today. God overshadowed Mary. The baby was born. This is the rejection that took place in Jesus' hometown. It's kind of like a blindness. This is Jesus choosing his disciples. He had work to do and he needed help. This is Jesus teaching and blessing the people. Here is Jesus feeding the 5,000 with just 5 little loaves of bread and 2 fish. And here is Jesus and his friends in the wheat field, where they're learning about the law and about rest. All of this took place in the north, close to where Jesus lived. If you go there today, Nazareth and the Sea of Galilee are still there. As Jesus was finishing his time in Galilee, he took 3 of his disciples up a mountain. And Moses and Elijah were standing there with Jesus. And a cloud overshadowed them. And when the cloud was gone, Jesus was alone. And so they went back down the mountain, and they turned towards Jerusalem for the last time. And these are some of the things that happened on the way to Jerusalem. Jesus and his disciples would have walked south. They probably took the Pilgrim Way, which went alongside the banks of the River Jordan. And then they turned west to enter into the city of Jericho, one of the oldest cities on earth at that time. As they entered into the city, a blind man on the side of the road started shouting, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." The blind man's name was Bartimaeus, and the people around him were telling him to be quiet. But Jesus said, "Call him." And so the disciples did. And Bartimaeus sprang up and rushed towards the sound of Jesus' voice. When he was close, Jesus said to him, "What do you want?" Bartimaeus said, "I want to see." Jesus said to him, "Your faith has made you well. Now go on your way." But Bartimaeus did not go on his way. He followed Jesus towards Jerusalem, for now he could truly see. As they made their way to Jerusalem, many people followed them. Mothers and fathers would often bring children to Jesus to have him bless them. You see Jesus looking down the road at a mother and her children. The disciples are looking somewhere else. One time, when the children came to Jesus to be blessed, the disciples pushed them away. They thought maybe the children were going to bother Jesus. Some people say that Jesus was indignant. He was angry. This was not right. And he said to his disciples, "Let the children come to me. Do not hinder them, for of such is the kingdom of God." Another time, Jesus said, if you welcome a child, you are welcoming me and the one who sent me. Jesus was saying that when you welcome a child, you come close to God. Many of the people who were following Jesus and the disciples loved Jesus, but not all of them. Some of them, like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, were checking on Jesus to make sure that he was following the Torah, the law of Moses. So they asked him questions. The law was important to them, and they wanted to make sure that Jesus was following the rules. One time, a lawyer asked Jesus, "What is the greatest commandment?" Well, that was a trick, because all of the commandments are equally important. But Jesus said, "Why don't you think about the law of Moses like this? The first commandment is love the Lord your God with all of your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength. This is the first commandment. But the second is also about love. It is love your neighbor as yourself. And he told them, on these two commandments are all the law, and not just all the law, but all the prophets too. One of the scribes said, he has spoken truly. And the Sadducees and the Pharisees went away, but they were impressed. I wonder what's going to happen next. But I wonder what part of this part of the story you like the best. This part on the way to Jerusalem, the healing of the blind man Bartimaeus, the blessing of the children, the giving out what we sometimes call the summary of all the law about loving God and about loving others. What part of this part did you like the best? I wonder what part of this part of the story you think is the most important. I wonder if there's anything in this part of the story we could take out and still have all the part of this story we need. And I wonder where you are in this story today. What in this part of the story is about you? Well, that's the end of our story for today. But it's never the end of our wondering. Thank you for joining me, and have a blessed 5th Sunday of Lent.